welcome to Quays News. Our top story today.
We look at tributes for Remembrance Sunday.
Well, they've asked me to be an ambassador for the Veterans Garage, and to be honest, I couldn't say no.
Including how a local choir chose to remember 100 years on.
And ex-footballer Len John Rose has a charity football match dedicated to support him in his fight against motor neuron disease.
Hello and welcome to Quays News. It's the 14th of November. We start with some breaking news. Police are investigating two suspected attempts of child abduction in Bolton and Bury. Two 11-year-olds were approached by a suspect in a white transit van at a junction in Blackburn Street.
This was after an incident involving a 14-year-old girl was chased by three men in West Horton. Anyone with information regarding these attempts have been encouraged to contact the police.
A veterans garage paid respects to fallen soldiers on Remembrance Sunday by displaying a range of vintage army vehicles. Our reporter Holly Pritchard has more.
Situated at City Airport Barton in Salford, the Veterans Garage is a welcoming sanctuary for veterans, auto enthusiasts, keen bikers, aviation lovers and the general public alike.
It's an active social club. It's something that's 7 days a week. We're a member of ASDIC, which is the Association of Ex-Service Drop-In Centres, which is only one of 12 in the country, are government accredited. And we're part of the NHS Military Veterans Service, and we give them free space to have counselling sessions and the therapy. But really, it's a fun, modern take on what the British Legion is. You know, it's just an automotive version of that.
Founded by the Redshaw family in 2016, the Veterans Garage provides a contemporary hub where these people can gather, share common ground and, most importantly, feel part of a community.
So up here was what we're sat in actually is the old site cabins when Peel built Media City. So they were just a complete empty shell. And it's all been done without any funding. It's all been done off in-kind donations and the hard work of volunteers.
The listed building next door, kindly donated from Peel Holdings, is currently undergoing planning permission to build a smokehouse eatery and a showroom for automobiles, making sure that this piece of local history is not left for ruin and forgotten.
I don't know anywhere like this at all. The only place I could say comes near is the Union Jack Club in London, which my husband and I go to a lot. But I think there are too few places like this.
The Veterans Garage is going from strength to strength as it has future plans to further develop and expand throughout the country. This is Holly Pritchard, reporting for Quays News.
Last Sunday marked the 100th anniversary of the First World War ending. We sent Rachel Allison to find out how the Glasshouse Bootleg Choir remembered the fallen soldiers.
Today, the 11th of November 2018, marks 100 years since the end of the First World War. Many will join in a 2-minute silence to pay tribute to those who lost their lives. Here at the monastery in Gorton, the Glasshouse Bootleg Choir helped to commemorate those who sacrificed their lives through the use of songs, poems and the sounds of trumpets and bagpipes.
My dad fought in the Second World War as a very young soldier and was quite poorly at the beginning of this year, and it just seemed like a fitting tribute to him really, to write something down and do something that I could perform with the choir and my talented friends, really.
I was very proud of being a soldier, very, very proud indeed. I had, 16 years all told.
The beautiful sound of the harmonica and singing left the audience in emotional spirits. This evening helped others to learn and be thankful to all the soldiers who fought in our honour.
The whole journey has been quite eye-opening because I knew a little bit about the World War, the first one, but I think when Sue put it all together and was explaining what had happened, it dawned on me that we really don't learn from history how many lives were wasted. And to this day we still do the war again, and then we do it again and we do it again, but we talk about peace. Really, we should be talking about pieces. That's what the bodies were left in as a result of the wars.
There has been a huge turnout and a great response of the choir and the war veterans who have helped tell the story of the Great World War. Everyone here today has enjoyed reflecting and remembering those who were lost in the Great World War. Rachel Allison reporting for Quays News.
Still to come, we talk to diabetes patients on World Diabetes Day.
And we visit the Neon Walk at Media City UK in support of cancer research.
Burnley footballer Len John Rose, who contracted motor neuron disease. Here is Dan Cox to tell us more. We're going to see it now. Apologies for these technical difficulties. We are going to move on.
Okay. Today is National Diabetes Awareness Day. Our reporter Olivia Mullally went to talk to patients with the condition and their nurses.
A disorder normally associated with adults, type 1 diabetes can develop in childhood. Counting carbohydrates before meals,
Say the number.
checking blood sugar several times a day. This will last for Ryan's life.
Their body develops antibodies which destroy the cells within the pancreas that produce insulin. When that happens, it means they need insulin injections for the rest of their lives.
Since I had my 2-year-old son, my diabetes has gone completely all over the place. It's now a case of if I'm having a hypo, I don't get any warning signs whatsoever, and I've had like several fits where I've ended up having to go to hospital via ambulance because they're coming on out of nowhere.
Kat and Ryan's disorders are a different diabetes from type 2. This is mainly caused by lifestyles. It can be prevented and it has a significant and growing impact on the NHS. Last year, 3.7 million people were diagnosed with diabetes. The number with type 2 diabetes alone is expected to rise to 5.5 million if things don't change by 2025. And those diagnosed with type 2 are getting younger.
So it's just a test that we would do. There is now a national diabetes prevention programme, which Salford have been involved in from the beginning actually, and the aim is that we'll help educate them in terms of healthy lifestyles, diet, exercise, and how they can change their lifestyle to prevent developing type 2 diabetes in the future.
Kat has type 1 diabetes and as a result suffers from neuropathy and retinopathy.
Retinopathy is a condition at the back of both of my eyes where there's blood vessels that become created due to my blood sugars going up and down so much. And basically those blood vessels burst, which causes me to have like patchy eyesight, and I've had to have a lot of laser treatment because of that. I also suffer with neuropathy with my feet, so I've got hypersensitivity in my feet, so they're almost like black looking because you get quite a lot of nerve damage with diabetes if you don't monitor it properly.
The carbohydrate 18.1 grams.
Kat and Ryan are part of millions of people dealing with their disorder every day. People can prevent this from happening to themselves by simply changing their lifestyles. Olivia Mullally, Quays News.
Till I get to 41.
Apologies for technical difficulties. Now let's take a look at Daniel Cox's report from the charity football match.
Together for Mr. Len John Rose.
The Sir Tom Finney Stadium is usually home to the football team Bamber Bridge, but last Sunday it was used as the location for a charity match which was set up to honour ex-footballer Len John Rose. Lenny, as he is called by ex-teammates, was diagnosed with motor neuron disease in March last year, with the no-nonsense midfielder choosing to battle the illness with integrity and spirit.
The support that I've had from ex-teammates, people I don't know, general public has been, like you say, overwhelming, but the teammates back in the dressing room before, it was like I'd never been away, all together, the same jokes going on and everything else, everyone taking the mickey, it was absolutely brilliant. So, you know, some of them have set off at 5 o'clock this morning just to drive down for the game, so that shows the stature of the players, and yeah, I'm truly touched.
It was Len's turn to watch on within the crowds as the Clarets and Swans pitched up in a game where the result could not matter any less.
We can do to help him, you know, we must do it, and you know, so privileged to be here, so happy he's asked me to be here, and you know, hopefully it's a great turnout for him because he deserves it.
MND describes a group of related diseases affecting the nerves in the brain and spinal cord that tell your muscles what to do. The disease is not well known over other illnesses, with most only knowing the late Professor Stephen Hawkins suffered for 55 years with a type. Many believe that more has to be done to raise awareness for the condition.
I think there's a lot of diseases that we need to be educated on, and we're not. I'd like to see the government put a lot more effort, a lot more money into these diseases, so we can find, you know, cures or let people live a lot longer.
Many fans turned out to watch the momentous occasion as they looked to support Lenny through his illness. But it was also an opportunity for some to catch a glimpse of their heroes from the past few decades. The Len John Rose Foundation has been created to raise funds and awareness for MND, as Lenny looks to help challenge the incurable disease.
So my sort of plan now is to make people more aware of what the disease is, and basically trying to raise as many funds as possible so that we can try and crack the disease.
Daniel Cox, Quays News.
We all try to find new and fun ways to improve our health and fitness. The charity Parkrun provides free 5k runs around the world every weekend, one of them being in Manchester's own Heaton Park. Here is John Simster for more.
"9 o'clock Saturday morning, a time many of us would like to be in bed, however not for these runners at Heaton Park in Manchester. Obesity is a serious issue, with the NHS reporting in 2016 that 26% of adults were classified as obese. This has increased from 15% in 1993, but has remained at a similar level since 2010. Running is one of the many ways people can get fitter to prevent obesity. Parkrun was first set up in 2004 with 13 runners in Bushy Park, Teddington, UK, and there are now over 1,600 locations across the world. All of them are free to take part in and open to anyone.
I came to the third event here at Heaton Park in July 2009, and I've been coming ever since. Today is our 432nd event. We average somewhere between 600 and 700 runners each week, and we have about 50 volunteers each week as well. Our ambition is to get as many people as possible more active than they are before. It's not so much for people who are already runners. We're looking to try and get people into physical activity.
There has been over 430 events at Heaton Park, with an average number of 395 runners a week.
Do it. I mean, it honestly changed my life for the best coming to Parkrun. I was ridiculously overweight, and doing this, I've now done a half Ironman triathlon, I've done a marathon, and that's all just from coming here every Saturday.
George Simister, Heaton Park.
Thanks to the Christie charity, Salford Quays were aglow with bright neon light on Saturday evening. Our reporter Sophie Reaper went down there to find out more.
On Saturday night, people came down to the Salford Quays in order to take part in the Night of Neon. This is an annual event held by the Christie charity that raises money to help with both treatment and research. Beth Snow was just one of the participants in this year's event.
My mum recently passed away from cancer, so I've been doing a lot of fundraising recently, hence this 10k walk that I'm going to be doing. The Christie have been amazing for my mum, especially with her last week or two. They were just, you couldn't fault any of the staff. They were just amazing, looking after her, doing anything that they could to support us, doing anything that they could to keep my mum comfortable in her last days. Just couldn't fault them.
Treating around 44,000 cancer patients at their world-leading treatment centre every year, the Christie have encouraged people to don their best neon outfits and take part in this annual event.
There were 2 walks that took place on the night, a 5 and a 10k that each started and finished at the Lowry Theatre.
Why did you volunteer for tonight then, ladies?
We've
both, I think, known people who've suffered with cancer. I know people who've been treated by the Christie. It's a fabulous cause and we wanted to give something back, and it's fun.
What is it that you're most looking forward to?
Just that atmosphere and everybody doing a thing for a good cause.
With a recent study from Cancer Research finding that 1 in 2 people in the UK will be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime, the work of the Christie is more important than ever. With 83p from every pound raised used to benefit patients and their families, the money from this year's walks will be spent on where it is most needed around the hospital.
What do you think the ultimate goal of the Christie should be?
To cure as many people of cancer as possible, really. I think that's the goal that everyone should have with it, really. It's just something everyone's knows someone who's been affected by it, so everyone should really get involved in stuff like this, I think.
With another successful night of neon, the Christie is certainly doing their part to encourage people to get glowing for cancer. Sophie Reaper, reporting for Quays News.
Now, a local actor from Oldham has written a one-man show talking about his time in Blackpool, and from the title you can tell it wasn't a good one. Charlie Mulholland has more.
Show in recent months.
What did you come to Blackpool for anyway? No, let me guess. Your wife Chantel caught you in bed with a fat next door neighbour Dave, who probably works in a garage and secretly goes dogging with men. I'm not married.
Starring in this production is Mark Newsom. This one-man show tells the tale of Billy Costello, a homosexual boy from Oldham with a problem with alcohol, drugs and mental health.
It's Mark's story, which is, it's based on Mark, but I mean there's a bit of artistic licence in there. But it's essentially Mark's story.
I went last summer, at the height of my sort of illness. I went to Blackpool, with no plan on coming back really. And it was my mate Will who rang me. And who persuaded me.
That's true.
So it's all
true.
It's
the
all
whole
true.
title of the play is true.
Yeah. So he was the one who sort of had a laugh and a joke and said Blackpool, and just started laughing. You know what I mean?
Hate myself for being gay. Now they do as well. What are you talking about?
The comically named show was created by both Mark and writer Phil Pearson, who wanted to take Mark's emotional story and use it to raise awareness.
Many great shows have had one performer, from shows like Berlin to The Christmas Carol only having one performer. However, Blackpool What a Place to Die brings up some fantastic points such as homophobia, mental health and even suicidal tendencies.
It's helped me loads talking about it, and I'd say to anyone that's suffering with any form of mental health, you're best off talking about it and seeking help, not just bottling it up, because it overcome me. I ended up in a really bad place because of it.
I'm a journalist and I interviewed him, and we did this over a series of about 2 months. We met every week in Oldham, and we just talked and talked and talked, and then I turned that into the play that it is.
The production has been grabbing the attention of the acting world, picking up nominations for awards such as the Northern Soul Award and receiving 4- and 5-star reviews from critics such as Upstage Manchester. The harrowing true story of Mark Newsom was showcased at 3 Minute Theatre in Manchester, and off the back of the success of the play thus far, they hope for further productions down the line. Charlie Mulholland, Quays News.
Now let's head over to Benjamin Stacey with the weather.
The weather in Salford today is very cold and cloudy. The wind speeds, however, are rising of up to 10 miles per hour. These may be harsh, but they won't be harsh enough to blow you away. The temperature today is peaking at 13 degrees. This will start to digress towards the weekend. It's set to be cold, but fairly sunny, but you won't be needing your Factor 50 just yet. If you're planning on heading to the Jess Glynn concert in Manchester or the vegan Christmas markets, you'll be needing a jacket but won't be needing a brolly because we're believed to have clear skies.
That's all from us this week. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Quays News and search Quays News on Facebook.
And tune in next Wednesday at the same time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.